Marcus Stoinis hitting the fastest 50 for Australia in T20 eyes and getting Australia over the line real easy. That's right, 21 balls to spare, 7 wickets still in hand, and boy was he on fire. 59 not out of just 18 deliveries, while his captain struggled at the other end to just get anything on his bat. He was 31 of 42 balls, but the important thing is he was not out. He stayed till the end, almost shepherding, but it was Marcus Stoinis just blew Sri Lanka out of the water and got the 2 points for Australia. And they'll be happy because they've got a bit of a net run rate booster as well. So which means that it's down. It was way negative, almost minus 4.5. So that's going to be looking a little better as well. But they're going to be celebrating those 2 points. I'm Gaurav Kapur. This is Cricbuzz Live. I have Ajay Jadeja and Harsha Bhogle here with me. Ajay was looking at one point that, well, we went on Cricbuzz Combox. So this is one of those we spoke about in the Hindi show, Gaddi Jandini Chalanga Mardi, right? So Australia batting in the power play, a little stuck. Then they fly, get 50 of the next 4. Then the next 2 overs, they get only 3 runs. Then Stoinis comes and destroys. It was really a bizarre roller coaster batting effort from Australia.
Total roller coaster. And I mean, it's great fun to watch, but I mean, I wonder why this happens. I mean, normally you look at conditions or you look at the situation, what's happening. But it almost seems like most teams playing with a number in their mind.
Yeah.
At this stage, we want to get there. Not at the start. I think at the start, Sri Lanka were brilliant. Yeah. Lahiru Kumara was absolutely fabulous. But I wonder why he can't bowl the 3rd or the 4th over at that stage. I'll leave that aside. And then when they're behind, then they kick on. And then they get to the 10th over. We have a combox and we feel, okay, now they're cruising. But they've had a meeting. It looks like, oh, we are ahead of the things. It's okay, we can take our own little time. Then they slow down. And
Let's take a nap for 2 overs.
So it's almost like people are playing on a scale where it's...
Some flight path.
Some flight path that we can't deviate from then. If we are doing well, we must hold ourselves back.
But
a fabulous game to watch. I mean, Stoinis was fabulous.
Yeah, and then you have, you make this flight path, Harsha, and then you have this fighter jet that just comes in, like Marcus Stoinis. They got 70 in those 4.5 overs.
When as kids, we used to go a lot on bicycles. वो चढ़ाव पे धीरे धीरे, and when you get that utar, you want to make the most of it.
Yeah, one down.
Australia was like that. They had more chadhaus than utar. I mean, that 59 from 18 balls of Marcus Stoinis is hiding a lot of untruths about Australian cricket. A lot of, not untruths, but a lot of...
inconvenient truths.
For Australia. A lot of inconvenient truths.
Namely?
For Australia. Number one, the form of the captain.
Yeah.
And because of the way the captain was going, there's pressure on Warner to keep going. There's pressure on Maxwell to keep going. Marsh, I don't think, is still ready because he's always coming out of a layoff at some point or the other. So that innings from Stoinis has actually is covering up for a lot, because I thought, I don't think they're looking like a champion side at all at this stage. It's just that they've got so many good players within them that someone's coming to the party. You look at the breakup of that, 158 in 16.3. You're talking about the Chadha Utar. Ajay was talking about that as well. 4 overs of spin produced 73 runs.
Yeah.
So look at what else they had. This was a track for fast bowlers, and all that Sri Lanka have. And spare a thought for Sri Lanka. They had one fast bowler. They had one Chamika Karunaratne, who's normally their 5th bowler, has only just started bowling 4 regular, and that's it. So poor Dasun Shanaka has to make good with two overs of Dhananjaya De Silva, 3 overs from Hasaranga. I mean, everyone goes through those days sometimes. And then when Tikshana comes back, he goes for runs too.
Yep.
So they really were short of firepower.
I feel like Sri Lanka must be getting a bulk rate from doctors now for the injuries to their bowlers, because I think all their bowlers pretty much are now injured. Look at Fernando's gone today as well. Bowled just 5 balls, couldn't finish his over. They've had Dushmanta Chamira who's injured. Both the Madhus are injured, right? Madhushanka, Madhushana. They're both injured. So they're really falling short of bowlers. It almost reminds me of the India Test side in Australia, where you're just this short of calling someone from the stands to come bowling over because you can't scrape a bowling attack together. But that is a problem with Australia. But today, all those problems have got ironed over by just some absolute brilliance of Marcus Stoinis. I mean, that innings, that is just That's special. There was no mishit there. There was some clean hitting, big boundaries, as you've seen in Perth, and they were going rows back.
Yeah, and just clean hitting.
Yeah.
Vanendu Hasaranga, poor fellow, like he said, anybody can have a bad day.
Yeah.
He was just targeted. It was almost like, sometimes the bounce of a wicket is, an advantage for certain people. Here, I think it almost was a disadvantage. Generally on lower wickets, he goes low and bowls those balls, keeps them so far away from you that you can't hit it off the front foot. But here, everything was just sitting up nicely and it was being whacked all over the place. And Stoinis played smartly, I think.
Yeah.
And what he was saying, that he puts pressure on the other guys, it almost seemed like, they're all with their captain.
Yeah.
They want to do the part that, today they understand, this guy is struggling. And this is the beauty of this game. I mean, you watch days like this with Stoinis, 18 balls, 59, game looks easy, everything's hitting the middle, you're confident. And on the other side, you got a Captain Finch who normally takes them away when he was in good form, and he's struggling.
Yeah.
Virat Kohli a couple of months ago and what we saw in a week.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of this game. It's the same player, but sometimes this game is so cruel to you.
Yeah.
And I feel for Finch. I feel for Finch because you've been there. I remember a day what happened to Robin Uthappa here at the Wankhede when he was playing for KKR.
Yeah.
There are just some days and some periods that no matter what you try and do, it just doesn't work for you. But what's good for Australia is, I think he's seen them through. And you said that word, I think, shepherding them through.
Yeah.
And I think a captain, if he shepherds them through, no matter what situation he's got in there. So he'll be able to say in that dressing room to each one of them. Because now he's experienced it himself, that at no stage should you be giving up.
Yeah.
And I think the team is in pretty same situation as Aaron Finch is in. And today's thing should turn around Australia in this tournament.
Get it?
Still, the algorithm with Bade Bhai, I agree. I don't know how when from one game from champion it goes to 25%. But with this win, it should only go to 28%. What's the case?
Yeah, because it's the odds, right? It's who you're beating, who's playing who, etc.
Yeah,
So that's the
this
math.
game doesn't really matter.
Still a champion side, obviously, in
Yeah.
terms of they're defending champions. They may not have played. The first game, of course, was a really bad day. Today also, they may not definitely have shown that, that champion side, as they're saying, because, you found a lot of holes in the game today, which we have. But could this be, the fact is that they've got the 2 points and they've got a bit of a booster to their net run rate. And that's what it has done. See, it has taken Australia from -4.5 to -1.5, and suddenly it is looking completely different, right? It is looking completely different, Harsha, because -1.5, another decent win, an over and a half, or maybe like 20 runs, and suddenly you're back to almost scratch.
Yeah, they've got to maximize those games against Afghanistan and Ireland and beat England.
Yeah.
The question is, how are they going to beat England? I mean, you saw when Lahiru Kumara was bowling, when Chamika Karunaratne was bowling. Ajay, you must tell us this. How can a batsman score runs when consistently both his feet are off the air? All
Off the ground, in the air, yeah.
How is he going to score runs?
He's suspended, he's levitating.
Levitating, but with the bounce on this wicket does that to you. I mean, what do you do? And when you're struggling, these things happen generally when you're struggling. We keep hearing, we keep watching. When we watch a game, when somebody's playing well, what does it look? It's the balance of the person. The power doesn't come from that hand, it's the body and the entire biomechanics around it. So when you're up in the air, it's only your wrist that can, bring power into your game, because you've got nothing to extract, energy out of anything else except your wrist. But what begs the question there is that this guy is on his 2 feet flying around. You have this bowler, but you stop him. How does that work? Tell me. I mean, that is, astonishing for me. When you watch these games and you see so many people working with teams, there's so much analysis going in. And now with this 4, 5, 6 games we've seen, any team that's, dominating at the top with their bowlers want to hold that bowler back. And when they come back, by the time they come back, the game's over.
Yeah.
So if he's in the air, keep him in the air.
Yeah. And keep him flying straight towards
Today
the
he had only
dugout.
one sabzi though.
Gee.
Yeah. Today he was a little stuck. He had one sabzi and had to spread out over 4 rotis.
Yeah.
He had to bowl Kumara at the start. He had to bowl him in the middle. He had to bowl him at the end. He didn't have another fast bowler.
Yeah,
but you're
you
right.
feel for him today.
One was by wickets up front.
Yeah, you feel for Shanaka today, because one of his bowlers goes out in the first 5 balls of the innings. You suddenly just completely best laid plans.
Himself, when he bowled that 1 over, and when you look at stats, it looks at 1 over 10 runs. But 2 of them are boundaries where if there was a slip, I mean, not that he could have kept a slip there, but I'm saying he could have bowled a lot earlier.
Yeah.
But he won't do it Because
Yes.
the modern day cricket says you've got two spinners in your side who are playing for the team. Conditions today are different. He should have bowled a lot before the spinners came on.
Yeah.
But it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So it's almost, I'm saying, no. So sitting here, you could sit and say, oh, this is how this team's going to play. He's going to bowl this over. And the opposition team's also looking at it and saying, this is how you're going to play.
Yeah.
So it's becoming too monotonous.
And too templated, yeah.
Too templated. And, you know, the fun of this game is going away. It's almost becoming like that baseball, how baseball lost all its interest in America, being, you know, the most popular sport in the world.
Yeah.
Then it went to Moneyball.
Yeah.
And now nobody goes to watch. I mean, people still go, but it's not the same.
You're right, yeah.
Because the sport is about that particular day. I mean, somebody like me, I mean, it's tough to watch these games, honestly.
Because you're an old school romantic, much like ourselves. And it's true. If it looks so templated, if you can sit thousands of miles away and predict what the next move is going to be, then, yeah, of course, you are insightful. That's one. But if everybody can predict what's happening, then, yeah, then there is a problem.
No, but then, I mean, then it's all about those last few overs. That's why most games go so close to the end.
They are going with your 550 that no matter what you do, leave 50 in the last 5 overs, no matter where in the world you're playing, and that ends up happening. But today, yes.
One day I want to see.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you. One day I want to see Ajay Jadeja in studio where somebody is chasing 60 to win.
Yeah.
And then CK 5 or 50 if it becomes.
Yeah, 60 in 20 overs, and they still leave 5 of the last 50. I'm telling you that K is not far behind.
I will pack up and leave that.
It's just...
It's been no fun watching this game again.
Today, you have to say for Australia, some trouble. Yes, Aaron Finch, and there was one, you felt for him because as a lover of cricket, as a fan of cricket, you feel for, and he's one of the nice guys of the game. He tried to hit this ball and he just threw his head back and his hands in the air and he screamed really loud. Like, what you could feel his frustration all around the globe. It was kind of ringing around the world. But, well, he was there in the end. That's one thing. Mitchell Marsh, well, he's the guy who's looking in the rearview mirror and saying there's a Cameron Green coming. And he's almost up to his exhaust pipe now, right at the back. And today, Mitchell Marsh in Sri Lanka, Harsha, Mitchell Marsh in Sri Lanka, and you'll appreciate this, were playing the Lucknow business model. They were playing the Tehzeeb, pehle aap. Mitchell Marsh kept saying, here, take a catch. Sri Lanka kept saying, no, please keep playing. No, just please get me out. No, please keep playing.
You know, Aaron Finch as the captain, I think he realizes that the move they need to make is Cameron Green, not for Mitch Marsh, but for Aaron Finch.
Yeah.
And I'm sure as captain, he knows that because Aaron Finch's form has now been this way for a long time. I mean, today was a really miserable day. I mean, it's like an anchor coming in front of a program, coming in front of Cricbuzz Live and saying, "Oh, okay, okay," that kind of stuff. He knows that Cameron Green has to be in his place, but he's the captain. He's got to make the most. So he was trying so hard. You almost felt for him because he was feeling so miserable. I'm sure he's sitting there. He's saying all the right things. As a captain, you've got to separate your form from your role as the leader of a side.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's feeling miserable about it.
Well,
why not Steve Smith?
Yeah.
The funny thing is, if there hadn't been an embargo if that had been the rule that David Warner cannot be captain, I think Warner would have been captain, and I suspect Finch may not have been in this side.
It's interesting, true. But the fact is that with Steve Smith and David Warner, from that incident, we shall not speak of. Actually, no, it's fine. We can. We won't.
Well, there's a book out that's making some damning revelations.
Yeah.
Tim Payne has written.
On both sides now. There's some firing coming back. There's some firing coming back from Tim Payne towards South Africa. But anyway, we won't get into that right now. We're just going to say that the fact is that Australia have got the 2 points, but they've also got some questions from this game that they need answers for. Remember, this is a very tough group for them. It also has England in it. They've already played against New Zealand, and it has Afghanistan as well. So this is a tight group there. You've got Ireland, Sri Lanka, Australia, Afghanistan. So Australia's now played against New Zealand. They've played against Sri Lanka. They still have to play against Afghanistan, Ireland, and England. And that's going to be the tough game. Friday is that game at the MCG.
That's the game.
England, Australia. That's a big game. Jeez, that's a good one. Looking forward to that.
That's a big one. You win that one, probably run rate would go out of the window.
Yeah.
Because then you've got, New Zealand and England have to play against each other, so one of them will go out only. And if New Zealand wins that, then there's no run rate. But So, but you've got to beat England. I mean, from Australia's point of view.
Yes.
And I think that game is the one to watch out for. MCG, if he had a game, if you get anything like what we had India-Pakistan, this is another rivalry as well. I mean, this is a team. And at the moment, England are in the form of their life, but they struggled against Afghanistan to get that 130.
Yeah.
So they've changed some sort of a algorithm there.
Correct.
So I think England's a better side. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
But after this win,
Yeah.
no, I'm with you.
I'm telling you that 113, it felt like they are going to put everybody to sleep before they get that.
So
that was their plan.
Yeah.
It's a lullaby innings.
And I think at Melbourne, after this win, seeing what's happened today, everything's gone wrong, I think they'll beat England.
Well, but one by one, because right now we're going to look at tomorrow's games because England is playing tomorrow. Yeah. So we'll have a little preview of that. England is playing Ireland. So didn't they get their captain? Their previous captain was from Ireland, right? Ewan Morgan is Ireland or Scotland?
Irish.
Yes. Ireland.
Or Welsh? Is he?
Ireland.
He used to play for Ireland.
No, he's Irish. He's Irish. They keep taking players from Ireland whenever they want. You know, it's almost as if, chalo, wo theek hai, usko le lo.
Yeah, it is. See, I've been watching The Crown lately, so I understand. You can do that. You say, like a castle, all your horses and a cricket captain, please. Thank you.
Purani aadat hai. They've been picking players from...
But now it's all going to change because we've got Ashish Nehra as Prime Minister, so we've got it all sorted. So England's going to stop all of this, right? Anyway, well, tomorrow it is England playing Ireland. Let's have a look at their teams. And yes, of course, they'll look at the last game and say, that's not us. That's not us. We shouldn't have made such heavy weather of getting 113 against Afghanistan. They did, but there you go, Joss Buttler. But the fact is that, they struggled in the top. They lost their openers. So there's Joss Buttler, captain wicketkeeper Alex Hales. They'll probably end up playing the same 11, won't they, Harsha?
Yes. I mean, the only option they have is can they look at Chris Jordan for a Chris Wokes? It's not a huge difference. Maybe Jordan tends to bowl more at the back end and Chris Wokes tends to bowl more at the top end. Or they could go with David Willey if they want someone else to bowl at the top. But really, that is a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Largely, their balance will be the same. I mean, the decision they have to make is, do we play all 7 batsmen?
Yeah.
They can't do that if Stokes is consistently giving them overs. Because in those 7, they've got Stokes, they've got Moeen, and they've got Livingston.
Yeah.
So they should expect 6 overs out of those, which will give you 2 in the bank should one of the players not do too well. So if they can play Stokes and Moeen and Livingston, then they can have those other 4. But then those 4 have to be good. And Mark Wood is good, Adil Rashid is good, but Sam Curran's good. Actually, it's not bad at all. Sam Curran's going through an absolute purple patch.
Yeah, so it's a team with a lot of options. So this is the reason why people are calling this team kind of favourites is they have the all-round options. They've got the pace, they've got the spin.
Yep.
Spin's decent as well, and they've got some of the heaviest hitters.
Yeah, I think tomorrow's game shouldn't be. I mean, you could play with either of the options. It's how they prepare. I think tomorrow's game is how they got to look at how we're going to play against Australia. That's almost like a final, semi-final, or knockout game, however you want to look at it. Looking at the past few games, what I look at one option and say, listen, I've got Moeen already for batting. I've got Livingston who can bowl a couple overs spin.
Yeah.
All teams who've struggled in this World Cup are people who've been one short fast bowler. As it is, they've got. So you could probably leave out Rashid, but, I don't know in this new algorithm that England has used, will they think of that? Because that is one.
It's one game.
No, it is not one.
Lost faith in them in one game, bichare.
Against who?
Against Afghanistan, when that one game of 130.
I'm looking at Australia, England.
Yeah.
So for that game, I'm saying, in this game, you play whoever, it shouldn't make such a big difference. But the big games that you've seen, the difference has been that.
Oh, I know. You know what he's doing? I'll tell you what Ajay is doing. This is the fan in him because he's not here on Thursday and Friday. So he's doing the preview for the Friday game today only. That's what you're doing.
Is it?
Yeah.
See, in the
I know
World
your
Cup,
schedule.
So in the World Cup, I know there are in the World Cup, and the other day our friend Viru didn't like it when we were talking about his partner in opening.
Yeah.
You look at World Cups, all opening batsmen have their best numbers.
Correct.
But the ones that really matter are 2 games.
The big
matter.
boys in your group.
Because and if you may have best numbers against all the other sides. So for me, I look at even in the World Cup, those 2 games, rest are to prepare your team.
That's true. So England will use that. But for Ireland, they're not looking at this as preparation. They're looking at this as they've beaten England, right, before? In one of the World Cups, haven't they, Harsha?
Long back.
2011, right?
Did they?
That was Kevin O'Brien's classic 100 of 50 balls.
Correct. There you go.
But
a long time ago. Different form.
they've got a decent batting side now. They've got people who can score quickly.
Yeah.
If that Sterling gets going, he can score very quickly. Balbirnie is a good player, but they've got two others in the middle: Curtis Camphor and Harry Tector. Tector on the circuit last 12 months or so, he's played some big innings, even against visiting sides. He's been very good. I think it might have been against India that he pulled off, that he produced a phenomenal innings. And Gareth Delaney is the leggy. He can bowl well. Curtis Camphor pulled the game out against Scotland for them. So they've got the players who can do that. The question is, can they do that consistently against a better attack?
Yep.
Mark Adair, Josh Little, they've got the bowling,
Yep.
but I don't think they've got the firepower against England.
Yeah, Josh Little, of course, has had a super year. Didn't have a very good game, the first game that they played against Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
But, he's good. So there you go. It's not going to be as easy for England as we think because it's a shorter format. It's not going to be as easy. You don't think they're not going to show up and say we can phone it in because you still got to play. And you have to understand that sometimes these associate nations, because, there are one-sided rivalries as well, right? No, I'm just saying there's one-sided, right? When you're an associate nation, you're inexperienced, you look at that one team and say, geez, that's my target. I want to beat those guys. Where it's like England's not looking and going, oh, but Ireland is looking because that's their neighbor, they're the established cricket force. So never actually underestimate that motivation.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, what happened to Finch in that one game individual, it can happen to a team as well. And we saw Australia, what happened against New Zealand. I mean, they've got bowled out for what, 110, 115.
111.
So this game, you can never take anybody easy. You could have a bad day or somebody could have a great day. But at the end of the day, a team that's looking to win the World Cup cannot go into a game worried against Ireland.
Yeah, well, fair enough.
No.
But
and also, and also, I think, Gaurav, they've got to show the rest of the world, this is who we are. If this is England, this is who we are.
Yeah.
It's like a top football team playing against a good opposition, but not a great opposition. You can't win 1-0.
Yeah.
You still get the points winning 1-0.
True.
But if you win 6-0, you're telling the world, ooh, hang on, these guys are coming. They didn't do that against Afghanistan. They have to do that again.
I mean, I'm just saying, Harsha, that, winning 1-0 is still better than losing 1-0 like Liverpool did a few days back. So, just saying, yeah. Sometimes.
You mean few days back and a few days before that and a few days before that?
Yeah,
and
I'm just saying, some days a 1-0 win isn't bad. At this point in time, Liverpool fans will take it. We're okay. We don't want 6-0. 1-0 will be fine. All right, let's look at the next game as well because there's two games being played tomorrow. The next game is New Zealand-Afghanistan. Really looking forward to this game. This game is also happening in Melbourne. So there's two games happening in Melbourne, just like two happened in Hobart yesterday. Well, only rain happened in Hobart yesterday. But let's have a look at this team. Because this New Zealand team is kind of, let's face it, for Indian fans, I think almost 9.5 out of 10 Indian fans, for them, their number 2 team is New Zealand, right? It's just the good
nice guys.
They're the nice guys of world cricket, right? It just happens. And they've got a team of nice guys as well. But Harsha, I think Devon Conway in that last match, Devon Conway was just something else. It tends to get overshadowed because sometimes the big hitters come in, kind of take the glory away and everything. And he's almost like workman-like, but his results are not workman-like. They're quite artistic. 92-58 is not a workman-like innings.
No, he's a fantastic player. He's a fantastic player. And to think he just moved from South Africa, not knowing what lies ahead, started to play club cricket, started to get games because the regular player was not available. He got a first-class debut because the main guy had gone off to play for New Zealand and they were short of a player. They quickly told him to get into a car and come. So he's moved from there. Very humble person, very nice person, but a phenomenal player. And they've told him, we rate you. We believe you're one of our key players. They've asked him to keep wickets for the balance of the side as well. So I'll tell you, one team's going to be looking at that game even more closely than all of us, and that is Australia. And they're saying, look, it's the second game on the same surface. If it grips a little bit, maybe can Afghanistan spinners come in? Can they produce an upset there against New Zealand? It's unlikely, but can they? So there's interest in that game beyond just New Zealand and Afghanistan as well. And that's the great thing about World Cups, which you will never get in bilateral series.
Yeah, and if you're talking about the pedigree of spinners, and even if there's an iota of help in the surface, if there are some guys who can use it, they are the Afghanistan guys.
Yeah, man. Afghanistan, their biggest strength is their spin. I mean, they've added a little bit in their seam bowling as well, but their batting seems to, when you pure pace and bounce, and New Zealand have a couple of guys, not pure pace, but
they've got Loki.
They only got Loki.
Loki's proper pace.
Saudi and Bolt, and they've got pretty good spin as well.
Yeah.
So I think it's the Afghanistan's batting. If their batting works and somehow they get scores, but it's tough to get scores against that side. The advantage that New Zealand has is that the 5 bowlers that they have are all different kinds of bowlers, and with a smart captain. If you don't have this is a team with no algorithm who'll bowl which over because there's a captain who's running the whole game. No, and so you could have great asset. We had great asset with Australia today, but look how they were used.
Yeah.
So with Kane Williamson, I think that's a huge advantage. And so Afghanistan's great side, Rashid and Mujib, we've seen them over the years. But just for 2 guys, it becomes a little struggle. We saw Sri Lanka. On conditions are different, the wickets are different, the grounds are different. So spinners do play a role, I have no doubts in my mind, but you need to give them something with your seamers.
Yeah.
And that's where they really lack.
I do want to say that there was a big change in strategy for Afghanistan last time. And I think it may have just been a breach of contract as well, because they have a contract with Omar Zai that he bowls only 1 over. In the last game, he bowled 1.1. So I don't know what's going on.
I was so excited by it.
I was so excited, I'll tell you.
He's more excited than when he orders a risotto.
That's right. I order a risotto for all of you. I'm not eating no cheese carbs, man. I ain't eating no cheese carbs. But I have to say, you were very excited as well because you like the little you've seen of Omar Zai because you
First time I got to see him beyond
you only see little of Omar Zai.
It's almost like, holding him back.
For what?
Yeah. The dependence on their spinners is so much they believe and they deliver as well. I mean, to be fair to Rashid and to Mujib, is that everything is, planned around these guys.
Yeah.
And the talent isn't the same around. But I like him and I hope we get to see a couple of more overs from him.
Excellent. Couple of more balls also. We'll take that as well right now. It's bit by bit, baby steps. All right, we're going to take some baby steps out of here. And Ajay is going to take some large steps because he has to go to the airport. But we're just going to wrap it up quickly.
What is the algorithm saying for Ajay's visit to the airport?
Ajay's
going to see my mother.
Algorithm.
I am not a busy man, but I am going to see my mother.
No, he's saying in terms of the airport.
No, I'm talking the number of times you use the word algorithm today.
No, I love algorithms because when you say I honestly do. Honestly do. I love them because that is what it is. Algorithms give you what have happened, what will happen, many options, they come out. But unfortunately, nobody's using them. They're all using just the data. Yeah. And the data from the time that we were playing. And these guys are different.
That's right. Data is back. Algorithm uses the back to do the forward. Right? So that's what you got to do. Anyway, let's have a quick look at the joy factor question. And then the answer and then the winner. If Taijul Islam and Kagiso Rabada were the first 2 to accomplish this feat, which Sri Lankans are the next 2? Absolutely no idea. Oh yeah, Vanindu Hasaranga and Madhu Shankar. ODI hat-tricks on debut. You knew this answer, didn't you, Harsha? You knew it. Come on.
No, I thought it might be about hat-tricks because I knew Rabada had one. I knew that Hasaranga, I think, had a hat-trick. I didn't know who the second player was. This is Shehan Madhushankar.
Not Dilshan, not the Madhushankar now in the scheme of things now. This is a different Madhushankar.
So I didn't know who it was, but if you see the churn in Sri Lankan cricket, there's always a bowler who's coming who's doing well, and then we forget him. Someone else comes along.
That's right.
But so I guess one of them could be Hasaranga. But in general, if there's any question, anything to do in the last 2 years, you say
that's
Hasaranga.
Right. It's got to be Hasaranga. All right, let's see who's the winner. Winner, chicken dinner. Come on, let's see. It's Parth Narodia. Parth, who's been on our leaderboard, he's in our Hall of Fame answering these questions. So well done, Parth. Congratulations to you. And you have won yourself our love, our respect, our admiration. I don't know what you'll do with that because the intangible.
There used to be prizes once, but Gaurav hid all of them in his room.
I've painted all the red tables white now, as you can see. That's right. There ain't no red table. They're gone. We're going to be gone too. We're going to see you tomorrow. Tomorrow is a morning game. Kal subah 9. All right, great. 9 a.m. live, Cricbuzz live in Hindi and in English. So do join us then to talk about the 2 exciting games tomorrow. Just leave you with one thought. The World Cup is due an upset. That's right. It's just hashtag just saying, all right? Just going to leave that here. and I'm a bounce.
Fair call. Fair call. Yeah, fair call.
All right. Big thank you to Mr. Ajay Jadeja and Mr. Harsha Bhogle.
The biggest upsets happened. My team didn't even make it to the finals. West Indies. I had shoes made for West Indies, and
Still, you can still wear them. You can still show your support. Yeah. Show your support. It's fine. Yeah. All right. So big thank you to Ajay Jadeja and Harsha Bhogle. One has to catch a flight. One has to catch 40 wings. And I'm youth, man. Let's go party. All right. I'm Gaurav Kapur saying thank you for watching Cricbuzz Live. Good night. Bhago.